Okay, we are live.
Yay.
Feels like we need a little applause sound effect there.
A cheer. Hello and welcome. I am Ronky, your GM, and in the stream today we have Rigel Kent, Gigaman, and FX Engineer. Today we are playing a Traveller campaign set in the Third Imperium. We are using the very awesome GURPS system by Steve Jackson Games, and our VTT of choice is Fantasy Grounds. You can find this and past sessions on YouTube and as audio-only podcasts. Links are in the video description. If you enjoy our content, please like this video and subscribe to our Twitch and YouTube channels. Okay, do we have any character business? Geigerman, do you have any character business for Dean?
Not at the moment. Still developing my advancement plan.
Keeping in mind, once we press start here, your characters will be locked in with the exception of FX, who has an extra week before his character's locked in. Rigel Kent, do you have any character business for Flynn?
I do not, although I do have to correct you. We are technically not in the Third Imperium.
Well, Third Imperium era. FX Engineer, do you have any character business for Sully?
No, I do not.
All right, well, if there's no character business, then Dean and Flynn, your characters will henceforth be locked in, and you get no free character changes or tweaks. FX, you have a further week for yours.
I feel less free.
The part of the reason I'm a little bit unsure with stuff, some of the things that I want to spend points are like contacts, area knowledge, things like that, and I'm just unsure with this prequel mission before the actual campaign. I don't want to spend it on stuff that's not going to be relevant in the main campaign. That's kind of why I'm hesitant.
Well, with your contacts, you can get group contacts. So it's not a particular individual, but there's a group of people. I don't know, merchants guild members, and you can roll anywhere you are to see if they're available. However, if you do make contacts and the campaign changes, you can by all means terminate that contact and use those points for something else.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
You're not locked into your contacts and stuff. All right, quick recap. Last session, you guys answered a distress call from a free trader, Starlight Dawn. I shall bring up that image. Still got to get used to the non-radial menu.
Yeah, it surprises me every time I use it.
Yeah, I find I'm hunting for whatever it is I'm looking for in the menu. You answered that distress call and went on board. You saw that the ship had significant damage, and you encountered one lone survivor who, I guess he assumed you guys were pirates, come to kill him. He attempted to fight back, but did a poor job of that. That's this guy here, Taran Cade. He was is the ship's steward on board the Starlight Dawn. He explained to you that you were attacked by pirates. The ship was significantly damaged, and the captain gave the order to abandon ship because there's nothing that nothing the crew could have done to avoid being captured by the pirates or whatnot. So they jumped into the escape pods and left. However, accidentally, Taran was left behind with no way to get off the ship. During the investigation of the Starlight Dawn, you also found that there was a corpse of a pirate in the engineering section of the ship, and that role is not for me. Or is that role for me? Sully?
I'm sorry, what are you asking me?
You rolled in the box. Is that roll for me, or is that you just testing stuff?
Oh, well, didn't it show what it said? You're talking about my enemies roll?
Yes,
Doesn't it say enemies?
it
Like, it
does.
doesn't tell you. Oh, okay. Well, I guess typically we would roll the beginning of each session, don't we, for enemies?
Correct.
I didn't know. That's why I rolled.
Your enemy, is it a enemy that wants you dead, or is it a enemy that is a rival?
He does not want me dead. He either wants to find the heck out of me or put me in jail, probably.
So the enemy is a rival. Or did you pay the
I think
cost
it's
for...
We
I think it's
we
still
already
an
had
enemy.
talked.
It's just
We
not.
talked about this before already. Um, yeah, I mean, I pay 10 points for it.
Yeah, I think it's still technically an enemy. He just doesn't want him dead.
Okay, I thought all enemies, unless you take them as rival, they want you dead. Hunter means they want you dead, and Hunter is the
No,
default.
I have to go back and look, but we had already talked about this. He's a customs officer, so he's not like necessarily trying to kill me. That'd probably be murder. But he, suspects or whatever any illegal activities, and he's just hunting. He's trying to put me away in some way or find me and the ship.
I'm sure we have discussed it before, but just because my brain is useless, could you please check Hunter? There we go.
Just did. Intends to arrest, bankrupt, injure, or otherwise harm you in some lasting way.
Okay.
Or simply wants to kill you.
All right. So all good. Your customs dude is probably going to want to bankrupt you or have you arrested. So moving on, you found a corpse of a pirate in the engineering section of the ship. However, you had determined that that corpse was dead longer than the pirate attack, as you were informed by Mr. Cade.
What was the extent of the longer part of that? I don't quite remember. Seems like it was like weeks or months or
It
something.
wasn't weeks, it wasn't months, but it could be weeks. But undoubtedly longer than, unless you have like diagnosis or like forensics or something like that, you're not going to be able to tell exactly. But
No.
it was clear that it was there longer, or the corpse has been dead longer than the time of the attack. So I'm guessing you think it was a plant, or this has been here before the attack. In any case, it doesn't look like any of the cargo had been stolen or taken. And just prior to us finishing up, you guys received a very, very faint and brief signal, which you managed to locate on the surface of the moon below, which the Starlight Dawn is currently in orbit around. You suspect that that signal was from the escape pods.
And now we're going to go down to get into shenanigans and hijinks.
Of course you are.
Do we have an obligation as a merchant ship to investigate these things?
Has that actually been established here? I know in some cases it's treated as it's a requirement by law to respond to distress, but I don't know if Traveler ever specifically said that.
I believe that is the assumption that you are required to investigate distress or respond to distress calls. And it's just genuinely a good spacer thing to do, because you never know when you might be the one sending out a distress call.
Could be in the next 5 minutes.
I'm just thinking the Expanse, how they handled that in the beginning when they got the call.
Well, in the Expanse, they tried to ignore it, but someone logged it, so then they had to do it. They had to investigate.
Yeah, but the discussion was they were they were legally obligated to render aid if able,
Yeah.
or at least that was kind of my question.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think that's the assumption is that is true here.
All right. So, what is your plan? You have Mr. Cade. Will you be taking him on board the bucket?
Well, we're not leaving
Well,
him.
so-
We answered this last week too. We're not leaving him on the ship that has no power.
Right. Which I was going to ask if we had actually departed yet.
You have not departed.
I take it we have not.
That will be the bucket until we find something better.
I personally don't have any objections.
Yeah,
It's too big.
It's a little big, maybe. Well, it depends on the scale, actually.
Well, it's about 25 meters.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, I think when I saw it the first time, those windows seemed smaller.
Keeping in mind, large chunks of this ship, the interior of this ship will be taken up with engines and power plants and,
Yeah.
the
Now,
ancillary stuffs.
if that's 25 meters long, that's probably about right.
It is still cramped and uncomfortable. There is no real conveniences or anything like that. So any long jaunt that you have in the ship is not a pleasant one. The chairs are not comfortable, and I guess the grav compensators fluctuate. So every now and then you feel a little bit queasy.
Well, since now we note that we have not yet departed, I will ask the question that I probably should have asked last week earlier in the process. Is Taryn actually wearing a helmet right now?
He was, yes.
Okay. We had that concern initially about the air quality in here. And if he's still wearing his helmet, then we probably should be as well. Right. So,
All right.
distress speaking.
You will depart. You have the coordinates. You managed to triangulate these coordinates or get a fix on these coordinates within a certain area on the moon's surface.
How far out is it?
Your orbit to the moon.
Yes. How far away is the moon?
I'm going to say that the moon is probably
Ish.
about 20 kilometers-ish.
Oh, that's not very far.
Geez, that's like right next door.
How about if we ask how far away is it? How long will it take us to get there?
How much? Yeah.
It'll take that much long.
It'll take plot minutes. Is it measured in plot minutes or is it measured in plot hours?
It will be measured in plot minutes. The moon does have a very thin atmosphere. From what you can tell, the atmosphere is not breathing friendly, so you will need your vac suits, unless you choose to breathe poorly and then die.
So whenever appropriate, I would like to either, what do we know about the moon? Are there any settlements, etc., besides the very thin atmosphere?
There are no settlements. There's nothing on this moon that you know. At least there's nothing in your databases, and your scans, I guess, will produce nothing as well.
Wow.
It does seem to be. It does have a high, what do they call it? Hydrology score. So there's a fair bit of surface water.
Liquid?
It is going to be liquid, yes. Whether it's actual just water, probably not.
This is a really weird situation. How big is this damn thing that's got enough gravity to have a very thin atmosphere, and how hot is it that it's got liquid water
Doesn't need to be very big.
with
to
a
have
very
a
thin atmosphere?
Many of the Jovian moons have thin
Some of them
atmospheres.
have liquid water, and they are in a warm zone.
Don't make me try
But
and
never mind
science
that.
this.
Actually, I did have a question. Did Mr. Cade have anything to say about the distress call?
He did not. He was not aware of it. it was Flynn that picked it up while Flynn was doing stuff in the cockpit.
Any reason we wouldn't tell him about it?
Nope.
So,
And he would have heard when I transmitted back to the Olympus that, we had detected a possible distress signal and we're moving to investigate.
actually,
If
that
he's
does kind of
informed-
assume he's on our radio network.
Well, he wasn't. You can patch him in if you want. That's not a problem. If he is made aware of this radio signal, he'll say that that's probably them,
Who them?
the rest of the crew.
Friendly them or hostile them?
Well, he says, oh, could it be the pirates?
Ugh.
Should we be going down there? His attitude changes a little.
Yep, we're going down there. And so we descend.
All right. The person that is going to be doing the flying, I will need a pilot roll from that person, please.
What pilot check?
You can make a pilot high-performance spacecraft or aerospace, either or.
Okay, after the end of last week, I went ahead and put a point in high performance, so technically I've probably got the higher skill out of the three of us at this point.
Do you? What's your high
15.
performance? Okay, then wow. How did you
Yep.
get 15?
Because I'm a born spacer.
So am I.
Well, I'm a more born spacer with a spiffier talent that covers more things.
Right.
That's great.
well, then get into the seat and take us down without crashing.
I was gonna say because the other option, but doesn't matter now since you have such a good skill, is I can fly it if I'm being directed by Flynn.
Right.
But 15 skill is great.
Yeah, because before I had the high one with a 13.
I've got a 12, so if everybody dies but me, I can get us back.
But we don't have to worry about that anymore. Suddenly, Dean remembered, wait a minute, I know how to fly this thing.
It's just like the simulator.
And then he takes us in too steep. We crash and explode.
He just didn't want to fly it because his license is expired.
Did that share for you guys?
Yep.
Yes. Not only
Swamp
does it have liquid
mode.
water, it also has vegetation.
That's not vegetation. It kind of looks like it, but it's not.
But
It's
it's a
alien
swamp.
vegetation.
That is the definition of a swamp.
It is weird vegetation then. Either way,
Space
it's not
vegetation.
important, and the limits of AI are such that I couldn't generate something without vegetation.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Success by 7 on your pilot, not a problem. You will set down how close to the site of this radio message do you want to land?
I would guess that as soon as we get close enough to actually get visual on whatever it is that's transmitting it, we're going to do a fly around.
Yep. Slow pass around the complex.
And if it's a bunch of guys with eye patches and peg legs, we're leaving.
And robotic parrots. Don't forget the robotic parrots.
All right, so just to clarify, you're going to do a flyby close enough that anyone on the ground would also be able to see you doing your flyby?
Probably.
That sounds
If
like
we
a
can
loaded
see them,
question.
they can see us.
All right, so I will get a perception roll from those people that are in the cockpit.
I use sensors instead.
Perception.
All right. You do your sensors. There we go. Visual enhancement. +1. And I'm just looking out the window.
All right, so successes all round. On sensors, you do detect what looks to be the lifeboat from a Beowulf class free trader. It is only one of the two.
Well, that's a start.
It seems to have done a reasonable landing. It certainly didn't crash or anything like that. So it's intact. However, Dean and Sully, as you're looking, you will see what looks to be a person laying on the ground a few yards from the life pod or lifeboat.
I don't suppose anybody has thermals.
What? Oh, okay.
Actually,
The ship
Uh,
would probably have thermal.
I
vision.
do. I technically have the. God, what the hell is it called again? Hyperspectral, I
right.
think.
Does
But I
that
wasn't looking.
I can't remember if that's passive or active only. No, hyperspectral. That's passive. That should work.
But I
No,
wasn't
I
looking
just
here.
remembered the space helmet has infrared on it as well. Although I doubt that works through the ship.
All right. Well, let's settle down and trip the inevitable trap.
Mm-hmm.
Did I don't know if anybody else. Oh wait, who saw the body? Flynn and I. Oh no, Flynn and Dean probably. Right?
You and
Dean
I.
Sully and Dean.
Oh, Sully and Dean. Oh, the
I
visuals.
was looking at the sensors for the inevitable missile launch that's going to come out and smear us out of the sky.
So I'll be like, Flynn, sir. Looks like there's a body down there by the life pod. I don't know if you saw it on your sensor scan.
Yeah, I can't tell if he's moving from here.
Well, let's settle down and find out.
Well, since the bucket doesn't have stats, that means we get to succeed at any dodges we need to make.
Sure. All right. Well, you will sit down, and I guess you're all going to exit the bucket. What is your intention with Taran? Is he going to be forced to exit, or are you going to request that he stay back?
We're not leaving him in our ship alone, but there's probably no reason for everybody to get out at the moment.
I think I could stay back.
Yeah, if you want.
I got to go out there in my vac suit. I'm not really. That's not my favorite thing to do.
That's true. That's true. And reminder: the bucket is armed, so if we have to blow something up, we could. All right, so Flynn and Dean then, and Mr. Cade.
I'll stay back on the ship and just monitor comms and sensors. Every couple minutes, and let you know if anything shows up or whatever.
Okay, Sully, can you please give me electronics op communications in the box, please?
Communications?
Yes, electronics ops communications from Sully in the box.
What is that? I don't have that skill specifically. I just know how to use the radio. Press
default.
The mic. Yeah. What is it IQ minus something?
IQ minus 4, I want to say.
You can grab the skill out of the abilities.
Oh yeah, let me do that. I'll grab it
and then just take a point away from it.
And then I'll probably train it next time.
So it defaults to IQ minus 5.
Okay, I got it in there. It's a 9.
Sounds about right.
I just got to put the title on
it. Why did you add an extra -4?
Oh, sorry. I had added that -4 before Gigerman told me to add the skill.
Right. Okay.
So I forgot to take it off.
All right. You will sit back and monitor communications while the rest of the people go out. You approach the lifeboat, and it seems to have done a successful landing. It's certainly not crashed, and it is in one piece. The landing may not have been, perfect. There's a little bit of a drag, but more importantly, you will see the motionless body of someone in a vac suit.
Does Mr. Cade identify this person?
Cade will he's a little reluctant to go up. He'll be saying, "You think he's dead?"
Don't know yet.
Right. Oh, sorry, I was bio break. Landed.
So he does not recognize this person.
Well, at present, the person is sort of face down on the ground. He will walk up and he will roll the person over, and then he'll be sort of startled and stumbles back a little bit, landing on his ass, as you can see the faceplate of his helmet has a nice clean hole right through the front of the faceplate and a subsequent hole in the forehead of this person.
Indeed. Well, I think we know the cause of death.
Anyone with any sort of guns skill will recognize that this is not, anything but a bullet.
Well,
Bullet
is
hole.
it Goss?
It is a nice tiny hole, so it is most likely a Gauss weapon.
It sounds like Kate isn't necessarily in a position to identify this person at this point. Do they have a name tag or anything like that?
They do. Actually, no. They don't have a name tag, but Cade will say, that's Davin.
Who's that? Wait, didn't we obtain a crap? What's the word I'm looking for? Crew manifest.
Your roster. Yeah.
You did. If you check your data pad, I'm assuming that you have a data pad.
I do actually.
All right,
It has
so
a bunch of stuff on it.
You will check your data pad and you will see that Davin Rill, he is registered on as the systems tech.
Okay. I'm going to make an assumption here that a shot like that probably would have been an instantaneous kill.
It would have been instantaneous. And certainly by the look of it, it seems to have been execution style.
And any indication that he might have been dragged?
Nope. He was, shot where he dropped.
So Dean will state the obvious. Looks like this happened after they landed. Guess we should look around for some tracks, maybe?
Yeah, I'm calling shenanigans because that's probably Goss a machine pistol, which only does 3D damage, and it does PI minus.
To the brain.
Yeah, but at the brain it does 4x regardless.
And divides armor by 3.
Yeah, I don't have any tracking skills. Double checking. Yeah, I'm a space guy. I don't have that kind of skill. So I'm gonna check out the escape pod.
Now, under more Earth-like conditions, I would expect to be able to get some kind of heat sig off of somebody walking away around here, but I don't know if there's enough atmosphere to actually retain heat enough to get a signature.
Let's have the universe decide. Dean, roll a universe reaction.
Oh. Damn it. Other one. Wow.
Unfortunately, the environment is not friendly to thermal signatures.
Okay. What's the capacity of these pods? How many were we expecting on here? And what was the crew complement?
I think the pods can take 6, maximum 6 or something like that, each pod.
Right. And they probably didn't have a whole lot more than that on the ship in the first place.
Their crew roster is, in fact, 6, but they took both pods.
But they took both pods. Okay, so chances are there's only going to be 3 or so on here, which means we're going to have at least a couple more in the cab, unless they walk off.
Who was checking the lifeboat? Was that Flynn?
Flynn.
Okay. You will check the lifeboat and you'll see that it is empty. No other peoples. I will get a vision-based perception roll.
By 9, because I've got the hyperspectral imaging sensors on the visor, and that is a +3 to all vision rolls.
Okay. If you have electronics ops, you can make
Which one?
Communications.
By one.
Okay, so you're looking around inside the ship. There's nothing that sort of really looks out of place or whatever. The emergency supplies are still stowed away in their particular spots. However,
That
you,
seems odd.
you will note that the comm display of the life pod has basically got a log of transmissions open. So someone has been scanning transmissions that have come from this life pod.
Okay, can we identify from where?
You can go through the log and you can see there's been transmissions that were made to the other life pod.
Right, so need to determine where it's located at.
Did it log return calls?
It did log return calls. I guess let's have a research roll from whoever wants to roll it, and I'm just crit hunting here. You'll get the information unless you roll a critical, at which point the information might be wrong.
I got a 13.
Then I should, if you actually have points in the skill, then I should let you do it.
So I'll roll the success by 6.
All right, so you step into the life pod and you start going through these logs. You will see that it is the communication logs automatically translate anything that's said into text. So you're looking through the text logs, and it's basically this guy communicating with the other pod, asking him, are they all okay? What's your situation? And you'll see that the logs mention our pod came down a little bit north of your position. It says, I think we're a little bit north of your position.
How long ago was this? Timestamps?
The timestamps put this at maybe, within, or the logs go within sort of half an hour to an hour of now, maybe a little bit longer.
All right.
Add whatever
So
time, whatever plot time it took you to land on the surface.
So I'll be Mr. Flynn. I've got some log records here. It looks like there's another life pod not too far from here. They've had communication within the last couple of hours.
But just so we're clear, someone has actually opened up the communications logs and was browsing through them.
Gotcha. Now, Dean was about to remark that we should have seen that while we were doing the flyover.
Well, it depends on how long your flyover was. But it would appear that it didn't happen when you were doing your flyover.
Yeah, so, there's nobody left here. And
Possibly, you think he might have tried to meet up, on foot to the other pod?
Possible, but if somebody's looking at the communication logs to find out where they are, that means they weren't on the ship in the first place. And given that this guy is dead, that means they probably got rounded up and taken over there. So we should probably get back in the bucket and swing over.
Yep, make sure that somebody is. Wait, does the bucket have any offensive weapons?
It does.
We'll make sure the offensive weapon is manned.
Have we defined what sort of offensive weapons it actually has?
It has lasers.
Lasers.
Well, he did use the plural, so that's good.
Pew pew.
So you're
Dust off, go to the other side. I guess we need to grab this body as well, probably.
Yeah.
all right.
Did I think I missed it. How many life pods and or crew are we looking for?
2 life pods, 5 more crew. 4 more crew, probably, since we have 2 that were there.
Yes.
Okay,
And
so there's
couldn't
two
identify
two
the
life
body
pods.
we found on the ship, did
There's
he?
this one and the other. That particular ship only had 2.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Sally. Your electronics communications role. What was that one? Right, so you're getting back into the bucket, and you're going to trek north.
Yes. Fully expecting to get shot at, though, by, while we're in the air.
Okay. You will start flying. I'll get the pilot roll from whoever's doing the flying. You'll
He's
start
AFK.
flying north to the suspected location, and you do find the second pod.
Okay.
At the second pod, you see the pod has come down, much like the other. It wasn't crashed. It's not a debris field or anything like that. However, you do see there is an individual that is moving into the pod, and I will get a perception roll from whoever's in the cockpit.
By 8.
You can see that on your approach, the person that was looking at the pod will notice that you're arriving, and then immediately go for cover inside the pod and disappear out of sight.
Well,
Now, Flynn, can you also give me electronics op communications in the box, please? Or if you have someone that is your co-pilot doing the radios, then that person can roll instead.
no, I think I'm acting as the co-pilot with Dean as the pilot.
As you sort of fly on your approach, and you see this person duck for cover into the lifeboat, you will hear the telltale sound of a communications message. However, it is encrypted.
Huh. Encrypted communication. I do believe we have discovered some pirates.
Well, if the company ship here had encrypted communications, which wouldn't be out of the question, I don't know that we would have the key. But otherwise, I don't disagree. I think pirates are slightly more likely at this point, given the less than social behavior just witnessed.
It is certainly not the behavior of someone, waving their arms saying, "Rescue me."
Mm-hmm.
It's someone that is perhaps wary or scared of you.
So at this point, we've got two issues here. One of them, we've got the tactical situation of going into potential pirate situation, which is redundant. The other one is we kind of need to swing out and see because they have to have a ship around here somewhere, the pirates, unless these guys are stuck here.
Yeah.
There are only so many places you can hide, in space.
Right. Well, we should probably still try to interrogate whoever this guy is.
Yeah. So how do you want to approach that? And do we want to do a sweep first?
How do you mean a sweep?
Like do a flyover, see if we spot any other ships around here.
We can certainly try. Speaking of, who actually is on the guns? It's going to be gunner beams. I've only got a 12 in that.
I think everybody actually has it, doesn't they? Don't we? Do we not?
What is Sully's gunner skill?
I forgot to take it, but he would
I
have.
thought you did.
No.
He would just have 1 point in it. Just basic. Whatever to qualify it in the academy. So he would have just had 1 point, and it's a dex base.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't be that good at it. It might be
Dex
like a 12.
easy, so that would be Dex plus 0, it looks like.
Yeah, so I'll be like at an 11. Just enough to be proficient.
More often than not, that's probably plenty. You know how to pull the trigger. Yeah. So I think what we want to do is recon first. I think to facilitate that, we probably want to get a little bit of altitude and do, like maybe a 10-click radius sweep, something like that. Come back.
Yeah. My thoughts there, though, is like if we just pull up and that's going to give this guy an opportunity to bail.
Well, if he bails, there's nowhere to go. Unless they got a hidey hole here somewhere. I guess that's possible.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea though. Pull up, do a sensor sweep, see if we can't identify the additional whatevers.
We
You
should probably
will.
let the captain know that we have suspect piracy, so they can be on alert.
That's probably fair.
All right.
I
So
think we did do that earlier.
Well, we did inform them about the new signal, and they told us to go ahead and investigate. We probably mentioned pirates, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, we had to because the
Yeah.
the pirates took the ship, and we did request an SAR from the planet, which is still like
Right.
probably like a day or so away.
What's the light lag?
first, give me a universe reaction to see if you're in the shadow, calm shadow.
Where were we before?
Keep rolling until you get a result that's not neutral.
Done.
So you do not have comms to the Olympus at this point. It's either behind the moon or behind the gas giant.
Do we have an idea of how long the rotations of all the different planets, etc., will bring us, allow us to communicate again? Plot hours, plot minutes.
The light lag to the main world from here is going to be 25 minutes.
Let's say your communication shadow to the Olympus is going to be, since you rolled a 9, we'll say 1 hour, within 1 hour.
Actually, I guess that's the minimum of 25 minutes. Between 25 and 50 minutes.
All right, looks like we're on our own for the next few minutes.
Actually, speaking of that, what's our elapsed mission time since we encountered the Starlight?
I'd say no more than a couple of hours.
Right.
So am I assuming that you are getting enough altitude and such that whoever is hiding in the pod is not going to be seen moving?
Yes. Well, I guess that depends on how good the resolution of our visual abilities are. I assume we won't be able to tell.
You will not be able to tell. All right, so you will get some altitude, do a scan, and you get nothing that you wouldn't ordinarily expect.
Only for a minute or two. So then we're back to the tactical question of how do we approach.
Go in and talk to this guy. He won't be there, but
What, just land and go right up to the door?
why not?
Yeah. I don't have a response to that.
All right, so you land.
I
Yep,
suppose we do.
How far from?
pretty close.
We're not docking with it necessarily, but yeah, pretty close. It shouldn't be armed.
The life pod is not armed.
Wouldn't that be a surprise, though?
All right, so you will land. Give me an approximate, like, yards. How many yards are you going to land from this life pod?
I'm gonna say, let's see, this is 25 meters on the ship, so 25 meters.
Let's do it like this.
Let's step out and start taking fire.
Crap. He's putting together a map, isn't he?
No. Did that share?
Yes.
That looks suspiciously like a map.
It's not a map.
It does a bit. Oh, it was zoomed in. Everybody uses the same brand of life pod, no matter what universe we're in.
It's like Otis make all elevators, just so you have some an idea of the depth of the water and stuff. It is no more than sort of knee deep at its deepest.
Right. Then in that particular case, we're going to want to make that somewhere not in the water, like where he's pointing. I see we didn't fix the yards.
Yeah, that's not a rule set thing, unfortunately. I can fix it. Yeah, I can fix it, but it'll say it'll go 25, then -7 yard.
Oh.
That's the best I can do. But if Fancy Rounds changes their stuff back to the way it was, then it'll go 25 yard -7.
All right. Well, we have a landing zone ish.
5 spaceships.
Anticipate trouble.
This will work.
Goodness.
Well, it's quite a bit bigger than a life pod, at least.
Yeah, we should do that as a separate layer. Give me one moment.
Yeah, it's always your first instinct is to drop it in there like a token, and then you remember, wait a minute, I should have made that a stamp instead.
Yes.
I'm betting that hostile or potentially hostile search and rescue like this counts as hazard pay for the company.
Damn it, that's not what I wanted.
That's what she said?
Is that not doing what I want?
I always had some difficulties getting the layer thing to work exactly like I wanted to right away. Always have to poke at it a bit, and then, oh, right, it works like that.
This ship is quite big.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking 25 seemed a bit large.
Well,
25 yards isn't that big.
sure there's a way I can make this bigger. How does one scale
That's what
it?
she said. Yeah, I thought when you selected the layer, you got the handles on there and you could squish it.
Oh, that's kind of useful.
Hey,
If you actually put the size in yards in the size, so if I type in 25 yards, it'll actually make the stamp 25 in size.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Learn something new every day. Alrighty. Sorry about that.
All right, so let's go get into trouble. There's really a clown, really.
Yes, Sully's a clown since he didn't do his character thing. Is the intention for everyone to go?
I think we're kind of in the same boat as before, where we don't want to leave Cade in our ship. I think if we're walking off, we're probably going to want to button it up.
We also have one other crewman, if you remember. We took a red shirt. That's like
Oh yeah, that's right.
Crewman Lee or something, and we can leave him at the helm so he can get exploded.
I'm sorry, I forgot you was there. You may go now.
So Crewman Lee can be, there, and he can be the guy who goes, we get the emergency comm, like, sir, I've detected a missile, and then the thing explodes.
So yes, we four shall go.
All right, well, help yourselves to your movements. Move where you want yourselves to be.
That could be interpreted in a bad way. I mean, what? So we're just going to walk up to the plan was to just walk up to the pod. So we just walk up to the pod.
All right, so if you're going there, move yourselves there.
I suppose it's worth mentioning that we are behaving as if this is a trap, in case that wasn't obvious.
As soon as Sully looks at his vac suit, he realizes, oh, yeah, I got to get my own.
Yeah.
Because clearly the vac suit of the of the company is a clown suit.
Yeah, that'd be about right. Big orange.
High vis.
It's not the clown suit really. It's the high visibility suit one.
Mm-hmm. We just call it the clown suit.
Yep.
And there's going to be nobody in the pod, and it's going to explode on us.
I guess I'll have weapons ready. High alert.
Is that all you have? Is just that monster pistol?
He's not really a military kind of guy.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
He's more of a, Second Amendment kind of guy, but doesn't walk around with AR-15s or TL-12 equivalent.
He's not with the Mordaka doctrine.
You look through the viewports of the pod. You can't see anything in the cockpit section.
I guess we know what their freaks
at the
are,
rear.
so we should be able to call out to the pod.
Every now and then you will hear the squeal of a encrypted communication.
Right. Well,
Continue to move yourselves until I say otherwise.
Well, where's the door?
At the back.
Should have landed on the other end. Stack up.
The door is open. I will get a perception roll from Dean since you're the one that's in a position to see.
Why the hell not? Well, I'm glad I don't have last week's dice. And just as that was escaping my mouth, I knew I shouldn't say that.
You can see the console of this pod is charred and burnt, as if deliberately sabotaged.
I'm guessing we don't have any heat sigs inside.
There are no heat sigs inside.
Is there any? I know we're like in a swamp, but any tracks or any? I don't have tracking, but just anything that's obvious.
There is tracks. You do not need to make a roll because a group of people is a +5 or +10.
However, because I'm actually adding that stuff, swampland is -4 every 5 minutes. Following a man is +3, and +6 is following a group.
All right, so there are tracks. You can certainly follow the tracks.
Yeah, I wanted to see what my results would look like. Well, that's not actually that bad. Wow, by 0, I actually succeeded. Now I can put a point in tracking, maybe.
Okay, can I get perception rolls?
What direction are the tracks going?
Can I get perception rolls in the box, please?
Oh, is this vision based?
Yes. Well, margin critical.
That's not going to have been me. It's going to have been somebody else because I don't roll that well. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, your name's right there on it.
Shiny. Oh, one of them clearly stepped into something that's like, radiating.
Lynn, look that way.
There's a dude with a rocket launcher, isn't there?
Can you see the dude?
I do see a bad dude, but the other guy was a bad dude last time too. And he turned out not to be a bad dude.
Well, he might still be a bad dude.
All right, so you can see this bad dude crouched behind cover, observing, and you can see that he's doing hand gestures. Now, I'll get you to make a soldier roll since you have soldier.
Success by 0 again.
This guy is doing military gestures.
Right. So I'm gonna. Well, what's he equipped with? I mean, in terms of gear. Presumably,
in terms of gear,
some sort of environment suit.
He is in a vac suit of some sort. It doesn't look anything special. Kind of looks fairly ordinary.
Is he armed?
Margin critical. He is armed with a Gorse rifle. You will see him move, and then
probably gonna have to shout, ambush right. Go for cover.
On this guy's signal, you will see another dude. Let me share him or make him visible.
Looks like these guys actually are bad dude.
It'd be a lot easier on you if you just make them all visible. You don't have to worry about it.
So, no chance of us resolving this with 5 hands based on Roski rules?
Who knows? So the guy will move into a position, and you can see that he moves with, again, military precision.
We've seen what military precision actually looked like.
Stormtroopers.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking real-life military precision. One of these guys is bored and doesn't want to be out here. One of the other guys is at least, still hungover. I think Flynn's first reaction is going to be to broadcast on like an open channel, and try to reach out to it's like crew of the Starlight Dawn. We are here serving as rescue, and if these hostiles react in a hostile manner, I may have to shoot back at them.
Actually, you're margin critical. We'll let you see this dude as well.
I guess that was a good time to have a margin crit.
I do believe we are in a bad situation here.
So, do you see the guy up there on the ledge? All right. So this guy, you see that he has a rifle sort of pointed in your direction. He's looking through a scope, and sort of scanning, but he also has camouflage. So he has, a not a ghillie suit, but he has something over him to break his silhouette. And he's back from the ledge. It's only because of your margin critical that you saw him. Otherwise, you would never have seen him there.
We have 3 hostiles. Everyone prepare for contact. Let's see here.
All right, so you broadcast on open frequency.
Yep. Doing our due diligence. Actually, I should double check my stuff to see if I would do that. Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right, you will get a reply. It will be, this is Halloran DOS, to whoever's calling the Starlight Dawn crew.
Is he going to say more?
Well, the channel goes.
Do I
silent.
recognize that name from the...
Yes,
Okay, who is it?
that is
Right.
the helm officer,
What was the name that he provided?
Halloran DOS.
Mr. Doss. We have your crewman, Mr. Cade, with us, who we have retrieved from your wrecked starship. I'm presuming you were among the 3 hostiles that are, pointing at us.
There's a pause. He says, hostile. No, we are currently near the life pod. We've taken shelter in a cave, a little northeast of the
Great.
life pod.
Damn it! I should have ordered him to cease transmitting.
And since you're watching, you will see hand gestures from this guy.
And then to the other team, presuming these gestures are indicating to the other guys to, move toward there, and they have to transmit, say, these are pirates. We need to engage.
The hand gesture is such that this guy will leap over the rocks, and you can see he starts moving eastward.
I'm going to ask a question here just to ask it, but I expect it'll be shot down.
Uh-huh.
What's the gravity?
It's quite low, so say 1/3.
Are we doing that?
I don't remember what 1/3 does. I have to look it up.
Because we'd have to go look it up.
Yep.
At this point, we won't worry about it.
I kind of figured you'd say that.
That's super lame.
Yeah, the only thing I
look it
remember,
up.
we would have done like the back suit thing for low gravity initially the first time.
You mean free fall?
Well, I don't know that we
free fall
necessarily
only
need to do
is
it
for
again.
vacuums. You actually have gravity, so you're only at dex penalties. And I'm thinking you're going to be at like -4 dex penalty or something like that off the top of my head for low gravity like this.
Is that something that could be trained, or if you have a skill,
Yes.
it raises the fault level?
You
There
get
is the,
G tolerance. No, not G tolerance. G experience.
G experience.
That's a skill or
Advantage.
trait. Well, there's got to be a way to train for it, though, right?
Well, you can pick that up.
To offset the disadvantage, the penalties. Yeah, that's why Sully just likes to be on the ship or the space station at his computer, making money.
We appreciate that. We like money too.
If local gravity differs from your home gravity, you might become disoriented and suffer psychological effects. The change in gravity you can tolerate without penalties is your G increment. This is 0.2 G unless you have the improved G tolerance advantage, page 60. So you need to determine the G increment from your home gravity rounding down. So we're likely all accustomed to 1 G. So, for instance, an Earth native used to 1 G treats 0.81 G to 1.19 G as 0 G increments, but 0.8 G or 1.2 G counts as 1 G increment. And then you are at -1 dex per G increment of difference.
So we're at a -4?
-1 per 2 full G increments
Per-
if you have the
per
G. Oh,
two.
if yeah. So it's it's -1 per G increment of difference.
So
Yeah, but the
that would be
GM doesn't want to.
minus. That would be -3.
But the GM probably doesn't want to apply that to his bad guys as well. I had
Yeah,
completely
actually,
forgotten about G tolerance.
some of this might be useful to add as add to the rule set. At least the encumbrance thing might be useful.
Interesting. Normal humans, the improved G tolerance, the advantage is 5 to 25 points, but normal humans are limited to 10 points into this trait. So that would be 0.5 G to change the increment. Right. Well, we need to engage these piratical types.
Okay, so there'll be another voice over the comm. It'll be, "We have no beef with you. Return to your ship and leave."
I was about to say, are you certain about that? We have friends everywhere.
There is a pause, and then you hear a reply. "Best return to your ship now."
I have stubbornness, so I think Flynn is going to try to contact this fellow and say, we just want the people."
You can't have the people. There's only two ways this is going to go. You return to your ship or leave, or you become collateral damage.
Let's see here. God, now I am super tempted to have Lee on the bucket open up straight ahead with the turret. That's like point blank range, right?
Well, from a spaceship standpoint, I suppose.
And then we hear him cackling like a madman.
You will hear the crack of supersonic fire from
How?
Gauss rifles. There is a thin atmosphere.
And we're wearing helmets.
It's muffled. Even when you wear earmuffs, you can hear a gunshot. Besides, this is a movie.
Yeah, this is one of those where it's like I need to remember Flynn actually doesn't care about these people.
That's true. You're not even his crew.
So
they're not even my crew, no.
Over in this direction is where you hear that sound of gunfire.
However,
and you'll hear over the comm, "Taking fire. Your orders, sir."
Yeah, right now I'm looking through my. Hold on, I should probably make this check to see. Ooh,
that was a crappy roll.
By 0.
You nearly lost it.
Yeah, because if he had just said, lost it, he would have told Lee to open up at bad dude number 1 with that laser turret. Let's see. So
another guy takes position here.
Right. So we're in a kill box. So nothing else. We need to get out of the kill box.
And you'll hear the voice that's been talking to you say, "Hold your position. Keep eyes on the target. Let's see if our visitors here, or our intruders, will take the offer and leave."
That's an interesting word to use.
What's that? Intruder?
Uh-huh. Suggesting that they live here.
Yeah, this is one of those where it's like, So he probably will direct the other PCs to get the hell out of the kill box. Start at least heading back towards the ship.
Is that it? Fall back?
Yeah, because it's like right now where they're in a perfect ambush position.
Okay. I guess you're thinking fall back, dust off, and then blow the hell out of them.
I might be thinking something along those lines.
Indeed. All right. Well, if OIC is given the order to fall back, we'll fall back. There's nothing in the immediate vicinity that we need to rescue.
So how far are you falling back?
To the runabout.
Wondering if I think he probably will transmit to probably the piratical type, and it's like, be advised, we have informed the home world of this system to dispatch, at least SAR.
You'll get a reply. That's at least a 6-hour response time. This will all be over before then.
Right. So what are the various disads that are going to come into play for any of the other PCs here? I mean, don't multiple of you have cannot harm innocence or some crap like that?
Well, Dean does. And he's not going to be super happy about leaving somebody to potentially, because I'm assuming these guys are slavers. Why else would they insist on keeping otherwise useless crew?
Yeah, but they don't look like they're trying to take them hostage. They just executed the one guy.
I can't imagine why they would need to. I mean, what's the point?
They're very bad guys.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, if you
Outside of
start falling back,
Yeah,
soon
'cause
as you sort of fall back past this line, so I'll get you to move yourselves past that line in the manner in which you plan to fall back.
Yeah, I probably will want to transmit to Lee to get the turret powered up in case it needs to be utilized immediately.
Right. Good enough. Anyway.
All right, so you will hear, or you won't hear, you'll see this guy gesturing to the dude behind him to proceed that way, upon which this guy jumps over the rock and begins to move.
So I'm thinking. Yep. So
This guy begins to move back and he sort of disappears from cover. And if it wasn't obvious, they're heading over here where there happens to be a little cave.
right. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking about automatically failing my impulsiveness and instructing Lee to engage them with the turret. That would be really funny.
They're probably not expecting that.
Yep. Mr. Lee, engage with that turret, if you please.
All right, the damage is going to be decade scale, so that'll be massive amounts.
Probably it's just like burp.
All right, so pick your target.
So number 2 is the one that was heading towards the cave,
Well, they all seem to be heading towards the cave.
but 2's the closest. So I think Lee is going to intentionally target him.
Right.
Probably need to add that name on the crew roster. I just don't
It
know
might
where.
be there.
It might be. Yeah, you have TBD Lee. Yep,
It might have been added about 5 minutes ago.
might have been. Does he like giggle as he's shooting?
Let's see. Roll. If you have the gunnery skill, just give me a roll.
A 3. That dude's gone.
All right, so that guy is going to be vaporized.
We're totally going to hear Lee on the comms like, oops, did I do that? Sorry, my finger slipped.
Well, these guns have a rate of fire of 200.
Ooh, I had completely
Mhm.
forgotten about that.
It's decade scale. Give me a 2d6 roll.
FX, roll 2d6, because you haven't rolled anything in a while.
2d6.
Yep. Well, that was pretty terrible.
Well, fortunately, it doesn't take much. That's, 30 points?
No, that is going to be 150 points
Yeah.
per shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the turret will open up, and everything along this line is just turned to slag. Rocks explode. Half that cliff face disappears. There is, molten rock thrown into the air, and this guy is obviously vaporized. But it will bring down half the sort of cliff face there.
And because it's low gravity, it all kind of hangs in the air a little.
It all happens in slow motion. It's like the sparks in The One. There's a scene, I can't remember where they are, but there's sparks. I think they're in like a steel works or something like that. And everything's in slow motion and sparks are raining down in slow motion. That's kind of what...
You're talking
This
about
looks like-
the Jet Li one?
Yeah.
It's been a really long time since I've seen that. Right. Well, given that the festivities are afoot, we should get back to the ship ASAP. In the event that one of them is brave enough to hang around and shoot back at us.
We only took out one of them.
Yeah, and I hope the next one he targets is the guy on the ridge.
Well, I figured it was going to go into combat turns.
No one knows about the guy on the ridge except for Flynn, because he's very well camouflaged.
He called it, and Lee's going to have a much better view of the guy, elevation and sensors.
Over the comms, you'll hear, "God damn it! This guy, he will move to get cover from the ship. Not that cover's going to help him a lot."
Yeah, but I was about to say, because as we've seen, that works so very well. Knowing there's the sniper up there, I think Flynn is scrambling for cover himself. So that's crap. Best I can get is there. Wait, low grav. How does that affect movement?
Well, if we're going with a third, then your encumbrance is a third of what it is.
But you are at penalties for decks and stuff. But let's not worry about that.
Actually, I have no idea what my move at a medium encumbrance is. Yeah, it's pretty low. Fortunately, I don't have that far to go. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
That's why you saw me only move 3.
And he's going to be diving behind that rock, so full on leap forward.
Your dive happens in slow motion.
Indeed.
And you're like, damn it!
He's just
running.
running.
He's going to make it.
That's appropriate. He's just gold running Zorak.
All right, this guy, he will. Oh, he's going to get shot at with a laser. He's going to retreat, jump over those rocks, hoping to get some cover.
It's a popular tactic right now.
I'm going to roll on my table.
That guy scoots away from the lip of that cliff. Nope.
All right, so Dean, this guy had you under aim, but you disappeared. So he's going to hold his position there, switch his aim. What's Sully doing?
I don't think there's much that Sully can do at this point, other than stay covered, stay hunched up, stay alert,
and make baby noises.
I have both of my daughters sitting on my lap.
No.
You asked for it.
I did.
What was the second one for? Was it to make sure that it's actually working?
No. The second one was to see who he's actually aiming at.
Yeah, if you use that card mod, I think, the tarot one, that'll make it so you can mark people off.
So when does Lee go again?
That's a good question.
He'll go on Sully.
Right, so he shot at
So
another
this
one
guy
of those
here,
guys?
Go
ahead.
Not this turn. So this guy here, he will begin falling back, but you notice that he's falling back, doing a tactical retreat. So he's not giving his back. He's keeping his weapon up, and he's just withdrawing. Not that he's going to be in any shape to do anything.
Just reflex.
Flynn is probably going to aim at number 4, although I'm not particularly enthusiastic about his chances of success.
I think Dean at this point is going to be doing a changed position to get back up into a firing position. But he will be facing the enemy at that point. So he'll be kneeling behind the rocks.
We can't hear it because Cade is not actually transmitting. He forgot to turn his mic back on, but he's like, ah, the entire time he's running or bounding, I guess it would be in this low grav.
So we've got, let's see if this works.
What was the to hit bonus for 200 rate of fire?
+8.
Is it?
I believe so. Oof. That's a major wound.
So it
On
goes 50
Tara.
to 50 to 99 is +6, and then it's like each times 2 plus 1 to hit.
High tech actually has an extended table.
He succeeds the major
Does it?
wound.
Where's it at?
I don't quite remember.
So I searched high tech for rate of F, and I'm not seeing that.
Aha, there it is. 172. 200 is, yeah, +8.
I'm not sure what Sully would be doing here. They're like still too far away for him.
Well, Sully is unarmored and carrying a large pistol.
Yeah, he's not kit for war.
He is not.
Well, he's got armor, clothing.
Oh, yeah, I guess he could wear that under still.
Yeah, I am.
I don't know. He's
Well-
like, what the frick do I do here, Mr. Flynn?
I
Like,
think we're
And
still in the
that-
process of falling back to the ship.
Yeah, he could stay low and stay in cover as he's heading back towards the bucket. Don't be an idiot like Cade, who just ran across the open. Hold on. There you go for dude. Oh damn, there's another margin crit on. I don't know. It's probably going to be Bad Dude 3 because I sort of envision Lee just sort of walking the laser fire.
Well, yeah,
from right
and-
to left.
What I was going to say there is he's got a rate of fire of 200, so he could split 100 between multiple
Ooh,
against
yeah,
two
if he can
targets.
do that, then he wants to shoot both of them.
No reason not to share the love here.
Okay. If someone has... you actually rolled.
I guess you would have to roll twice in that case.
Yeah, and it would be
minus
+7 instead of +8 because it's 50
plus
to
7 for
99.
the rate of fire.
Yep.
And spraying fire, you're actually gonna lose shots between. So I'd probably just go with the +6, and that should be it. So, but you would have to roll twice.
It
Not
looks
as
like,
impressive.
yeah, not as impressive, but the first one was definitely awesome.
Oh, actually, I wonder... Is there relative size modifier?
Well, I mean, does that even apply in this case? It's not an oversized creature. And then you have to figure out, well, what is the size mod of the bucket? Which doesn't have any stats.
It is +6. I wonder. In any case, actually, the spaceship's rules have rules for shooting down missiles, and it explains something about the modifier.
Yeah, just you saying that, I wonder if that rate of fire 200 is actually for space combat turns and not literally
Zhish!
But
In any case,
do go ahead.
give me 2d6 rolls.
Again?
2d6 rolls.
Ooh, 7 and 10.
So that's 350 and 500 damage per shot.
That's not going to be comfortable.
So, spaceships page 66 has weapons in ordinary combat, and it has damage is D-damage multiplied by 10. Accuracy is space accuracy plus 18. The space range modifiers assume an AC 18 weapon fired by a gunner performing all-out aimed with 3+ seconds. So, yeah, so it's like oof, still.
So can they fire every turn, or is it every 3 seconds? Is that what it's saying?
Well, it's
no,
assuming
it's
that.
it's saying you can fire every second. The reason it's got the plus 18 is because as point blank range is actually assumed to be 100 miles for a minus 30 range modifier. The space accuracy and point blank modifiers are assumed to cancel out, providing a net 0 modifier for accuracy 18. So it's like, whew. I guess he could fire every other round to get the AC.
You'd
In
have
which
to
case,
aim.
it's like, ooh, that's plus 18. That's ouch.
Well, given that rate of fire, he can get away with just not bothering to aim. What page was that on?
66 in spaceships.
So he'd be at
Jeez, what
normal
was it?
range penalty unless he aims.
Right.
Well, you had him not shoot for a round, so it's logical to presume that he aimed.
We'll say he aimed at this one here, and this guy disappeared, vaporized.
Poof.
So that guy, he is moving.
Okay, so it doesn't even call out rate of fire in that section.
Nope. I noticed that.
Ouch.
Yeah, I don't anticipate having a high chance here. Let's see. Do I?
We'll say
Yeah, he
minus.
aimed last round.
It's only head and shoulders, so that's -4.
Yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to hit this.
You did aim, so don't forget that.
Yeah, but the Gyrock does not have a particularly great accuracy.
Well, what's its typical damage? I mean, you use an armor piercing
60 piercing plus.
and it's got an armor divisor and everything.
No,
I mean,
not in this case.
oh, it doesn't. Okay,
No.
so that's just high X. Okay.
I guess probably.
I was going to say you just shoot at the whole target, and if it hits and then you roll location. But I guess that may not actually apply here since he's probably laying down.
Ooh, this is not likely to hit. Let's see. Nope, missed by 6. So it's gonna impact the wall there and go.
I thought we weren't
boom.
doing the microgravity.
Well, I applied it. If we're not, that's still a fail by 3.
Okay. So Flynn just turned around and took a shot up there, and that was at the sniper guy, right? Okay.
That is correct.
I figure the guys that are moving out are probably not long for this world, so I'm not going to focus on them. Now, Flynn did call out the sniper as well. I believe that was true. And Dean might be aware that Cade just went down. He did go down, right?
No, he didn't. But he is at
is he still running? He was just
1/3. So he's half move dodge.
Okay. Yeah, so really the only guy that's likely to be trouble for him is the sniper. So Dean is going to post up the rifle over the cover. So gun in hands only. He is using the gun cam to aim at sniper guy.
Okay.
Targeted.
Ow. Well, I should just remove Bad Dude 3. Bad Dude 4, he will get to a knee.
Well, why don't we just vaporize them with the ship weapons again?
We are. We vaporized 2 of them.
That with Lee, right? But yeah.
It's only a war crime the first time. It's not a war crime the first time.
I see. I'm next to Dean. I guess I'm not. I feel like I'm not really contributing much, but he's. Oops, I didn't mean to turn the pod. He's gonna. Yeah, I think I'll just
scramble towards the ship.
All right. Yeah, maybe he'll make a run for it. Hopefully, he doesn't get sniped in the back of the head. Do I get extra move in the low G?
No, it just reduces your encumbrance technically. Though we haven't been paying much attention to that.
All right, so this dude will disappear behind some cover.
Right. Lee was aiming in that general direction. I think Flynn is going to aim again.
Okay. You said head and shoulders.
He's
kneeling now.
Oh.
He is abandoning his position.
I can't imagine why.
Okay. Then I am not going to apply that. So that is still going to be -2 at least for the kneeling, which puts me right back where I was. Okay, I believe that's everything. And okay. Dean aimed last round. He is still firing over the rock using the camera. And here we go. Torso.
3.
Goss. It's my first time getting to use this one.
Maybe a
right.
4. I'll settle for a 4. You need to roll a 4.
3-round burst. And that'll be all of them. He may not be aware of me at this point.
I'm going to roll and see if it matters. It's not going to matter. So do your damage.
Okie dokie. I am going to... Did I put that on here? No, I did not. Tables. The chest. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. This will not go well.
Well, that's if any of it gets through.
No, that's true. All right, so, and the first one was that one. All right. So I'm going to call this that one, and this is going to be not boosted. I really should have thought of that. First one at the vitals. Double click. There you go.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
So is that doing the thing?
That's doing the thing.
Cool.
Oof. Is that right? -5 arm, divide 5 armor.
It's AP.
And piercing minus.
But
Which
vital
won't
strike.
matter because vitals, but yeah.
Yeah, that automatically took him to -5.
Damn.
Damn, you just blew out his heart.
Well, I'm going to roll the other ones anyway. Ow. Not as ow.
You took him to -7 times hit points.
Damn.
Well, if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly.
And I'm like, I absolutely saw that because I was locked on to aim. Wait a
All right,
minute.
so at this point,
Does this really not have it? Oh my god.
Taryn will continue towards the ship. Sully, you don't have any targets since the last guy disappeared behind cover. And the only thing that... what's your guy's name again in the ship?
Lee.
The only thing Lee can do is shoot the cover and hope to hit the guy.
And he's absolutely going to do that while cackling like a mad person. Because it's not often you get to use, you know how those gunners are. They're really
you know how
weird.
this goes when you're playing the shooter and you get on the mounted gun. You just hose everything down.
While laughing like a madman.
Well, laughing like a madman, probably.
But you do have to be careful because there's people hiding out in the cave just there.
Yeah, but he's not aiming over there.
Oh, I didn't know it was that close.
All right, so we will say combat is effectively over. That guy is either alive or dead. You're not sure.
Okay. So Terran is not on our TACnet because we don't have one. The spacesuits have a built-in biomonitor, and if we were on an TACnet, you could know that he had been injured outside of visual cues.
That's weird. It's not as narrow as I would like it to be.
Right, it's going 60 degrees. Or is that's not 60, that's 120.
Right. Well, we need to contact, I got to look at his name, scroll up to find his name again. Mr. Doss. Get his people out of there and into the bucket. Move, move, move.
That's not correct for GURPS, is it?
No, it is not.
Is it a rule set thing that they've changed? Or a core thing? Looks like?
Yeah, it looks like.
Well, I mean, that would actually... No. Yes, that would be correct for the forward arc.
No, the forward arc is everything semicircle forward.
Well, that's the visual forward arc, but the melee forward arc is that, I believe.
Yes.
Not that that's necessarily useful, but...
Damn it. I completely forgot that I had a frickin' scope, which means the range should have been treated differently.
Well, but there's also the thing that... Okay. First off, the magnification that you're using, the bonus
8x.
that you get for the scope, you have to spend that many rounds of aim to get that bonus.
Gotcha.
And the other part of that is typically at this tech level, it's variable power. So you can actually do a voice command or something like that to zoom it to whichever bonus you want to actually use. Which is why I dropped mine down to 1 instead of 2.
All right, so combat is effectively over. You call out over the radios to for the survivors to hurry up and make their way to the ship.
Yes.
Okay.
Move. We don't know how many additional pirates there are.
Okay. They will begin to exit their cave. They're a little bit hesitant at first since there was a very big gun going off just moments ago. But once the dust is sort of cleared, then they will start charging out towards you guys, and you will see these individuals.
Well, I hope we didn't just help the bad guys.
Yeah, that'd be about right, wouldn't it? What's Lee's first name going to be?
Bruce,
No.
I'm assuming these are sharing.
Yep.
Yes. Doss looks like a fun guy.
Cramped quarters. Get aboard. We need to dust off.
Okay, you will dust off, and I'll get a pilot roll.
Mr. Alani, if you please.
Do the thing. That was a really crappy roll, but good enough, because I'm awesome.
You manage to not crash, and you will find yourselves in orbit. Is there anything in particular that you are planning to do, or are you going to head back to the Olympus?
We need to confirm with the rescued that they are indeed the last of them.
Well, we got the dead guy.
This is the entire crew. Does anyone have first aid so they can address...
Yes.
I has it, but
Terrence.
I'm busy.
I will utilize first aid unless Sully is better. Ooh, wow. Oh,
We
right.
should have-
Yeah, ignore all of that crap. Because, I'm like,
Still
wait, yeah,
a
what?
success.
We should have kits in here too. This is a quasi.
Yep.
So you can roll a
it's not a rescue
d6
vehicle.
plus 1. I should add to the
Damn.
rule set the ability to not only drag and drop damage, but drag and drop healing.
Didn't it already do that? Well, I guess it's not identified as such, is it?
No.
Huh.
So you heal him with 6.
Yep. There's no way that we can tow the wrecked ship with this, correct?
Nope, you have no means to tow it.
All right.
Well, we corrected its orbit.
Yeah, and we'll make our way in the direction of the Olympus. As soon as we have comms, we will let them know we are returning with 5. Is that right? Yeah, 5 survivors.
Yep.
5 alive, 1 dead.
5
And
survivors,
one-
1 corpse.
Well, 2 corpses, but 1 of them.
You will
Which,
see...
At once we achieve orbit and we're on the way back, Dean's going to turn around to one of them and say, "Hey, who's that guy?"
Which guy are you pointing to?
The old corpse.
They all shake their head and say, we don't know. Is that one of the pirates?
What was he doing in engineering?
I have
Didn't
no
have any
idea.
bullet holes, did it? I don't recall you mentioning any combat damage on that guy.
Doss will say, when we saw the pirates inbound, we thought it's best that we just take the escape pods and leave them to the cargo. No point risking our lives.
What kind of ship did they have?
Okay, so this detail is important.
Indeed.
What kind of ship they had? Yeah, I think it'd be funny if it's like parked in the swamp somewhere, and we just killed all of the crew. So we're not going to be able to find it.
And it's got boxes and boxes of gold pressed latinum in it.
Exactly. It's like slowly sinking into the bog. Got to find a little green man to lift it up with his mind.
I should have mentioned over the comms, you would have heard a desperate shout after you started opening up on them with the big laser. You would have heard, "This isn't worth it. Fall back to the extraction point."
Extraction point. That's interesting. Probably also need to well, no, we're sending a word to Olympus. They can, update the main planet as well.
All right, so Jessa, she will produce a data crystal, and she says, "We didn't really have time. We got a sensor contact inbound to our ship. We didn't get any sort of identifying marks. The transponder was off, and we decided to leave before our ship was attacked and hit, severely damaged, and we decided to abandon ship before they got close. But I did manage to get this data log, and he'll hand it to Glenn, since you look like you're the guy in charge.
He will immediately plug it into his Palm-top terminal and copy the information.
He will say, or she'll say, we did manage to get this data log, hoping that perhaps afterwards the ship could be identified and these pirates being brought to justice. So you will get that.
That's good news.
You will plug it in. You will see that there is no ID on the ship at all. Actually, give me a sensors roll. See if you can analyze this data.
Success by 1. Analyze? Is that not like intel analysis?
No, this is more like analyzing the sensor logs.
Gotcha.
All right, so you'll pour through the sensor logs and you'll see that there is active ECM being employed as the ship's sensors are just being thrown off by whatever's approaching. However, there is a definite sensor ping of not one ship but 2.
Even more interesting, 2 ships, not 1.
Jessa will say, that's not possible. We only saw the one ship.
I'll definitely show her my findings.
Well, she'll look at what you find, and she understands what she's seeing. But the only reason you managed to get this data is you worked out that there's active ECM being employed, which is scrambling the sensor readings, and it's only because you're a jet that you've managed to work out there's 2 contacts, not 1.
Interesting.
The crew, you will see, are getting fairly emotional at the death of their crewmate, and there's things like, why would they do this? Why execute him? What was the reason for this?
Well, sadly, we weren't able to really get that information from them.
And Kalen, who is a young kid, early 20s, late teens sort of age, he will sort of pipe
He's
up.
a kid.
He will pipe up and he'll say, I did overhear Daven talking about some discrepancy in the cargo manifest. I wonder if that had something to do with it.
Hey, maybe that other dead guy was hiding in one of the boxes.
And then Halloran will say, what discrepancy?
Did we not copy that information, the
You
cargo
do.
manifest?
You do have the cargo manifest, yes.
Well, then we will review that. I will give that to Sully to review, since he's more likely to be able to quickly pick up a discrepancy than I am.
So Callan will say, I don't know, I just overheard him talking. And then Serrano will say, he did mention to me that one of the cargo containers was drawing more power than it should have, according to the manifest. And Halloran will say, why wasn't this brought to my attention? And she says, well, we would have eventually, but the pirates then attacked. We didn't really get time.
I'm moderately amused that I've got their entire crew images up, and all of them are wearing jumpsuits and looking relatively normal, except Cade, who looks like a crazy person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had to generate him as a crazy person.
How do we know he didn't start out crazy?
So the crew will be sort of discussing this, and obviously this is news to them. In any case, you guys will eventually arrive back at the Olympus after the Olympus is refueled and ready to depart. These guys are all brought on board. They are taken to medical, or the XO will tell Flynn, get these people to medical, have them checked out, and let me know anything that comes up.
Will do. Be advised there may be 2 pirate ships in the area, not just one. And they were apparently using active ECM.
Thane will sort of raise an eyebrow. He says, that's some pretty wealthy pirates then.
Indeed.
I'm not sure how pirates would have scored tech such as that.
Well, they sounded like they were ex-military, so maybe they absconded with something.
So, sharing images directly is not as convenient as making an image record for them.
No, I'm not sure what the purpose of that was.
I guess to keep it clean a little bit, maybe.
Well, I mean, most of the time, yeah.
Do you have the ability to go to the shared assets?
We can see the assets if you've shared them.
So,
except I don't see any.
So if you click on the assets button.
Yep, there's nothing in there. No assets found.
What about the shared? Do you see a button that says shared in the bottom?
That's what it is.
No, I see assets.
No, shared is at the bottom of the panel.
Yeah, now I see assets. Shared assets.
Oh, sorry. Now
okay, so you can see all the stuff in there.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say all the stuff. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 NPCs, a system, a setting, and Starlight Dawn.
Yeah, so that's what I've got shared currently.
So who is the doctor?
That's your
Our
doctor.
medical guy.
Oh. Well, she's not on the roster.
Add her on the roster.
Why do I have to do that?
Are you not the owner of that?
Oh, yeah. That's why I have to do that.
Where the heck is she fall under?
It's under the
there it
catering
is.
department.
I had to scroll down. Yeah, so what's the status on the Pyport sending search and rescue? Because we can at least advise them that we've retrieved the 5 survivors.
They'll basically inquire as to the status of the ship itself.
It's crippled.
Then they will report that a salvage team will make their way out there to pick up that ship.
Then they need to be advised that that salvage team will need an escort because there's pirate activity in the area. Now I kind of want to find the pirate ship with the ECM and take it.
I know, right?
You never know. You might one day. So the doctor will begin to look over these people. Of course, you bring in the 2 corpses as well. The ship's med bay is not really designed for so many people. So the corpses are placed into body bags and put off to the side. And then the doctor will see to each one of these people. If there's some of you that have first aid, she will ask for your assistance.
Anybody not have it?
Me and okay, so sounds like all 3 of us have it. It's like this isn't our first rodeo.
She'll say, could do with a few extra hands here. I don't think there's any serious injuries. None of you people are seriously injured, right?
The crazy guy's like, I'm fine.
This is a little bit of emotional pressure, but I'm not hurt.
I could really use some drugs, though.
Actually, no, he's still got 2 points damage. Alright, so she will start tending these people, and likewise, you will all assist. You can make first aid rolls if you like. See if you kill any of these guys.
Sadly, I did not. I succeeded by 2. No killing on my hands.
I failed to kill anyone.
I'm trying.
Well, that's the wrong skill, so.
Oh, damn it. I thought I killed somebody. I'm still trying to fail, but I succeed by 1.
Alright, so no one gets killed.
Except the guys we shot.
So between you all, you'll address the injuries and stuff for these people. You'll check them over, and they'll be cleared. The doctor will say, well, what's to happen to these people? once they're discharged from here?
That's a really good question. I have to report to the XO. They're all clear.
Have you had a chance to debrief them?
I will relate what information we have learned currently, but obviously we haven't had an extensive debrief to double check.
The
But
XO will
we've-
say, could you bring that data crystal to me? I'd like to have a look at it.
Shing, here it is.
He will then sign off, and he'll say, Captain, I'm sure will like to talk to you at some point. So, time will pass. Several hours pass, in fact, as the Olympus heads towards the main world.
What did we come up with on that? Was it 5 days and something?
5 days, 10 hours, I believe.
5:10.
Damn.
I'm really impressed with the work that the dude that made the UTSIG site went through.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's a lot of effort.
I just wish they were still working on it so they could match up some of the details to what's on the wiki.
Yeah, I wonder
It's clear a lot of those were random generated.
I wonder if his stuff is open sourced somewhere. I imagine it's not, otherwise we would have seen clones.
I seem to remember looking at it at one point, trying to figure out how he did it, and I just couldn't figure it out because, well, I don't have that kind of skill set.
He's like got some rudimentary orbital mechanics in there and planetary orbits and all sorts of stuff. It's mind blowing how much effort he's gone to. The location of the planets in the system will change depending on the date. It's impressive.
Yep.
All right. So during this period where you're in transit to the main world, is there anything in particular that your characters are going to want to do?
I'm probably going to study in my spare time. I'm going to study those logs a bit more. Probably won't necessarily find out any additional information, but, well.
Let's see. Our next stop is Cordan, so we basically got 2 weeks until we get there. Probably a bit early to get too hyped up over that. No, I don't think we have anything else to do for me in particular.
And I figure Sully's probably doing the, online stuff to search for any cargo or try to potentially sell the stuff that we have.
Yeah, he's I don't know how long the communication. I think Gigerman said 25 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess that's enough to be able to communicate, though. Not hopeful because it's just not the right kind of planet for the goods that we have.
Right.
But maybe if I was like crit hunting, if you will, find we might get lucky and find a buyer that's willing to pay more, because of their personal circumstance.
Well, I think it's not out of the question that you couldn't like offload 1 or 2 pallets worth of it, maybe a ton.
So I get to do that. That's 1 attempt per day, and then I will also like to, twice in a row now he's been on security duty with a pistol. Like that's his normal sidearm for, just everyday carry. I'm thinking he might want to train in long arms, maybe the Gauss rifle or something like that. So he might hit the shooting range on the ship.
We didn't get any long weapons from the bar, did we? They were just pistols.
Yeah, I think it was all pistols.
Yes, it was just pistols.
Remind me what the cargo was. So I know we had 2 lots, spices and oils, I think it was.
There was 2 lots. We only had enough to purchase 1 of them.
Okay.
It was spices and oils generically.
308,000 total.
Yeah, 55 tons.
55
we
tons,
bought it.
yeah.
5 tons.
We bought it for 308 is what we bought it for. So that's our all-in price.
308 total. Okay.
Yep.
I've got it on the cargo manifest. I am trying to figure out how we can incorporate the individual shares on that. But so that the base value of that was 8,000 per ton.
Oh, I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember.
I think it was, and I think you knocked off a little bit, which is why it's worth more than what you just said.
Correct. Well, we got it at a discount.
Yeah. Okay, so the value of 55 tons of spices and oil that we currently have in the hold is 440,000. Okay,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
that's on the cargo manifest. So we'll keep
Oh,
track.
I see.
We'll keep track
Yeah.
of there.
You're tracking the
Yeah.
actual or the base value, not the purchase price.
Yeah, if we had our own ship, that would be tracking all the cargo that we had. But in this case, it makes sense just to use it for this.
So the reason I say, because right now the modifiers for this kind of world, I think it's a -2 to my price roll.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go back and look, but that's why I'm like, well, unless I get like an 18 -2, then I'm still doing good. But if I get an average roll,
you want to check and see if you can't get better chances if you try to sell less of it. Because I'm assuming that it's basing your chances on the entire lot.
Well, the rules in there are not so. I think
Are they not?
to take advantage of my skills, I would use the social engineering rules, which has some options for negotiating and things like that. Or if I
Okay.
can use like complementary skills, things like that.
Okay, well, I'll just throw that out there in case you didn't think of it.
Well, it doesn't, at least mechanically, it doesn't make it easier. It just means that I can have potentially different values. Maybe I get lucky on one and sell high, and the other one I sell low. But I mean, I guess the rules are not that. The spaceship rules are not so. They're kind of just high level trading. If I use like far trader options or social engineering, it's got a bunch more options for price. For adjusting the price. I don't know if you know what I'm saying. Like the spaceship rules, it's just a table, and I roll on the table, and that's what the percentage is, and I can modify that based on the type of good, if it's agricultural, non-industrial, etc. Whereas when I use and then I can finally, further modify it by a merchant roll, for just the flat 10%. Whereas if I use the social engineering, I could actually negotiate and use different skills, to do that.
You're missing what I was talking about. What I was talking about was finding the buyer in the first place.
Oh yeah, finding the buyer. I mean, I'm actually
you're more
not so
likely to
concerned
find a
about that.
buyer for less of it, especially in this case, I would think. Now,
Well, I think
that's the part that I don't know if it's in there or not.
the buyer accepts a whole lot.
Yeah, the buyer, you sell out a lot.
Right,
So,
but there's nothing stopping you from breaking that up.
But why would I do that, I guess?
Because if it's easier to find a buyer.
I can find a buyer. I'm pretty sure I can find a buyer. I have good skills for that.
I don't think the lot size has anything to do with finding a buyer.
Does it not?
I don't think so.
No, it doesn't. I'm just going to roll on my merchant skill, and then there's a couple of like modifiers to it.
Well, if they don't do that, I guess, but that's kind of weird.
We'll deal with that towards the end. We've got some stuff that I want to go over before that happens.
Yeah, if I was using, like I said, the social engineering rules, then it goes into a lot more detail, like the price, the base price, the TL of the location, how much, all that stuff. There's more options.
Not to drag it out, but ultimately, when it comes down to it, whether or not there's somebody there that has need of those items and has the money to actually purchase 55 tons of it has got nothing to do with your skill level.
It does. I roll on my merchant skill, and if I succeed, I find a buyer.
If they have one general store and there's a dude there, there's no way you're going to be able to sell it to him.
Well, it doesn't matter. That's the rules.
That's what I'm saying. Whether the rules take that into account is another matter, and we'll deal with that when we deal with that.
Yeah, we're just using the base speculative trading rules. We're not, anyways.
Okay, so you're 3 days into your trip to the main world. people are going about their usual routine. Your survivors have been given rooms on board. You have plenty of beds for them. You will learn that the salvage crew has picked up the Starlight Dawn. They've done an audit on the cargo, and that's been sent through to you.
Already?
Yeah, why wouldn't
How
they?
did they get out there so fast?
They're faster than 1G.
I guess I don't know what's common in that regard.
Well, you'd expect that search and rescue would be pretty fast.
I guess so.
How do I stop my phone from beeping?
Turn it off.
Smash it with a hammer?
Throw it in a pool.
I guess a fish tank would do if that's handy.
Okay, there we go. So that information has all been sort of sent to you. I'm not sure if you guys are interacting with these people at all. If there's any plan to interact with these people.
Yeah, I probably want to, get additional information from them every now and then. Check stuff out.
Some of us are chummy. We like new people.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good point. You can talk to him. I'm not going to talk to him. I've got work to do.
He's unchummy. I got work to do too, but I'm gonna talk.
Well, when you're in the mess and such, well, you don't have to be a loner. So you only failed that on a critical.
Yeah, because it's a quirk.
Gotcha. All right, so Dean, you're being chummy during meal times and stuff in the mess. You'll chat to these people and just get news. You'll learn that these guys they run freight and spec freight and passengers through the Reach. They don't follow any particular routes. They'll go where the cargo needs to go. Kalen will tell you that as you're sort of talking and chatting, and you're sort of speculating as to what's going on, and you just talk about shit, really. Kalen will sort of pipe up and say, Serena, didn't you tell me that something about the load we picked up at Wildman? And she went, and Serena goes, I'd completely forgotten about that. She says, some cargo was loaded late that night before departure, and it was off schedule.
You guys have security problems, I guess. We had a sabotage incident the last at Fist.
Halloran says, seems like you have security problems.
Sometimes.
As you seem to think he takes some offense at you saying he's not running a tight ship.
Oh, well, yeah, he may have just been running off his mouth there, but when they're talking about this stuff, Dean is very interested in eventually starting his own business or being involved in a small tramp freighter business. So he's all about hearing about how they got set up and how they finance and do they work for a company and how they got started, yada yada yada. So he's into that shit.
All right, so you will talk, and you'll get fairly friendly with the crew. You'll find out that personality-wise, Kalen is kind of like the Tom Holland Peter Parker. Seems to have a lot of energy, really keen, has his nose in everything, wants to know shit. Halloran is the boss. The other two are... is there anything... No, there's nothing special, particularly special about those two. And of course, the steward, Taran, is obviously a fish out of water. He's not like a born spacer. He hasn't been in space for a while. Anyway, you get to know these people fairly well. And a few, or like 3 days into the trip, you'll get a ping from Jessa. She says, I just went through the cargo audit from the salvage. I found something peculiar. I'd like to come and have a talk with you about it.
That was to me.
That's to you.
I will respond and suggest maybe we have Sully have a look at it. Since we're talking cargo, that's his bag.
Sure.
So I'll bring Sully in.
Shall we meet in the mess in the galley?
Yeah, sure. I get off shift here in about an hour.
All right. I will see you there. In an hour, you will arrive at the galley, and you will wait, and about 10 minutes later, Jessa's still not turned up.
Yeah, she's totally dead.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, Dean is not impulsive.
So Dean and Sully, you will be in the galley waiting. I guess Flynn is doing working stuff.
Or the
Doing
heck
working
is Jessa?
stuff.
I got shit to be doing here.
What was that? FX?
Well, Dean will start pinging people randomly around, trying to see if anybody's seen her. People who aren't, in the middle of things, in the middle of actual ship business.
You will get replies saying, I haven't seen her. Or you'll get someone say, I saw her a couple of hours ago. She was over here.
And you'll eventually start talking to the Starlight crew as well. Go visit them. Hey, you seen Jessa?
Not since, since breakfast. Why? Is there something wrong?
I said she was going to meet up here, and nobody seemed to know where she is. It's not a big ship. There's only so many places you can go. I believe at this point he would be going to the bosun.
All right.
One of our guests are missing, apparently. Nobody knows where she is.
You will
Dun, dun,
head
dun.
to the bosun, and
Who's
it
also
just
dead.
so happens that as you're sort of traversing the corridors and such to get there, you round the corner, and you can see laying on the floor is Jessa.
Please don't be dead. Please don't be dead. Please don't be dead.
Do you have any way to diagnose?
With the two magic first aid fingers
Okay.
on the
Roll first aid.
pulse. Dirty-minded people. There. Oh, I'm looking right at it. That was a shitty roll.
Awesome.
Well, hopefully that's really easy to find out.
I would say that checking for a pulse is fairly routine.
Uh-huh.
And given that that's a +4, you will find a pulse. So she is apparently still
Unconscious.
alive, but she's not responsive. You try and wake her up,
Okay.
and she continues to be unconscious.
He's going to get on comm, call the doc.
The doc will say, on my way. Takes all but a minute for her to rock up. She kneels beside Jessa, starts feeling for vitals, and says, she seems fine. Help me get her to medical.
I will do that.
You manage to get her back to medical. You stick her on the med bay. She uses the auto doc to start getting vitals and so forth. And the doc will say it would appear that she is fine. There's nothing physically wrong with her.
Except for that she laid down and fell asleep in the middle of the corridor.
There is that. She'll take a blood sample, do a quick analysis of it, and she will then say, it appears that she has been drugged. Should just take a moment here to get a analysis of the toxin. Damn it, I can't remember the name. But she'll come back and she'll say, she's been hit with mind wipe.
I didn't know that was a drug. But I promise it wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Well, sounds like if at some point in this process the bosun actually catches up with us, and tell the bosun, then it looks like we got a whodunit.
The bosun will appear, and
Poof.
actually, it is Myra, I think, is the bosun. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
She will appear, and you'll fill her in. The doctor will say that she has been drugged. She's been hit with some mind wipe. She'll recover. She'll come to in an hour or so. She's not going to feel real great, and she's probably not going to remember the last couple of days.
And Dean will tell Mira that she was coming to talk about some issues with their cargo manifest on the Starlight, and then he found her in the corridor.
She will say,
Time to start checking the cameras.
fuck this. We're not paid enough to look after stuff like this.
Does this count for danger pay?
I don't know, bring that up with the XO. So, long story short, a couple of hours later, Jessa will come to. She'll be groggy, and
Burke! It was Burke!
she doesn't say that at all. But she won't remember that she had requested to come speak with you. She won't remember anything. Everything's a little bit blurry for the last couple of days. The rest of the Survivor crew will learn about this, and they are going to be rather upset that someone on their crew has been attacked like this.
Just to establish it, Dean will have filled in Sully on that because Sully was waiting as well. Flynn will eventually hear from the bosun, at least, on the security issue.
So the crew, the Survivor crew, will start to become like suspicious and paranoid, and they're not willing to sort of talk with people unnecessarily. If you wish to instill some trust in them, you're welcome to make an influence roll. Otherwise, they are going to treat everyone as potential bad guys.
I would review security cameras along the area where Chick was found.
Flynn is not interested in instilling trust in them.
He wants to find out who did it so we can throw them out the airlock.
Okay. Give me an intelligence analysis roll.
Hey, I can actually do that. Unless I roll an 18.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately,
Wow.
going through the security logs isn't very helpful to you. There's not cameras on every portion of the ship and every corridor. It just so happens that where Jess was found is not on camera.
That's
and
suspicious.
some of the areas leading to where she is not on camera. So either it's very fortunate, or someone kind of knows the security of the ship, or is familiar with it and knows that there's no camera here.
Indeed.
It's concerning that we have somebody that's on the ship's crew that's causing these issues.
Uh-huh. It's you, isn't it?
I thought we should probably pull up. I don't know. I forgot what you just searched, Flynn, but
Cameras.
I was thinking the what is it? The background checks and personnel files for everybody on the ship.
Right. He wasn't here when we mentioned that in the very first session. But yeah, I think we have sort of reviewed some of that.
You have, and
Yeah.
it's come back fairly inconclusive. The people that have been on this ship have been on this ship for a while. There's nothing that really stands out as being, a flag.
Maybe it's just Dean's sense of duty to the crew talking, but he has a tendency to suspect the outsiders first. So he's assuming somebody on the Starlight crew is bad. Just like he assumed that somebody not on our ship was responsible for the sabotage.
So, is anyone going to try and be friendly with them or gain their trust?
Well, Dean is definitely going to try. And
Okay. Do you have an
probably,
influence roll?
if I had an influence skill that would be appropriate to what he would probably do, it'd probably be carousing, which means he's going to bring him beer.
All right. So I think that gives you a +2 to a normal reaction roll.
That depends on how you want to do it. You can either roll it like an influence roll, or you can do that as the bonus to a different influence roll or situation.
All right.
I
Do
go
it.
either way.
Give me an influence roll. You're carousing.
I'm a party guy. Actually, I wonder if charisma actually applies to that.
I believe it does.
Yeah, it would.
So conditional +1. So succeed by 6. All right. So despite the fact that these guys have become paranoid and don't trust anyone on your ship, they think they're being targeted. They feel unsafe. You manage to regain their
Loosen 'em
trust, and they're more willing to speak with you. So you have a fairly critical bit of information which you may have forgotten.
I have not. Well, I haven't. I don't know about anybody else.
All right. So these people are willing to speak with you and stuff. They want to know
Okay.
what's going on.
What Jessa said was that they had picked up cargo at Wilderman, which is where we are and where we're going. So I assume they were talking about the main world and not the gas giant, because there's nobody there.
Yes, it is the main world.
Okay, so which I guess would mean that they were coming from there and refueling?
Yes.
Okay, so they had just picked up something from Wilderman, and Jess had noticed an anomaly. Unfortunately, she can't remember anything now.
Well, she doesn't remember that, but she did tell you that she compared the cargo manifest, the ship's cargo manifest, with the audit that was done by the salvage crew. And she noticed a discrepancy, and she wanted to talk to you about it. But she doesn't remember that she noticed that discrepancy.
Okay, well, in her case, I'll basically tell her what she told me and see if maybe she can find it again. Once again, I might involve Sully depending on what his schedule is.
You're welcome to involve anyone you want.
And we know that they had discovered that there was an issue with at least one of the containers that they had drawing power when it shouldn't have, or drawing more power than it should have.
Yeah, it's
However that works.
drawing more power than it should
Refrigerated,
have.
maybe. Generally, containers don't actually draw any power
Unless they have fridges,
unless they're refrigerated or something.
Yeah.
Now,
Life support, whatever.
Dean is still kind of leaning in the direction of that was probably where that guy came from, the dead guy. Like it was a hab module, a disguised hab module, and he was hiding out in there.
Except he was shot.
Oh, I thought you said there wasn't any.
Yeah, no, there was bullet wounds and stuff in his corpse.
Okay, then forget I said that.
But you may have forgotten that I said the amount of blood and stuff.
Right.
Doesn't quite match. It's like he was shot after he was dead, sort of thing.
I did forget that part.
That was last session.
Okay, so yeah, clues.
In any case, now that you remind Jessa that this is what she did, Halloran will produce the cargo manifest, Sirana will produce the cargo manifest. Jessa will produce the salvage audit, and will do exactly what she did before when she mentioned that she wanted to talk to you, and she does find the discrepancy.
Okay.
And it just so happens that the container that was causing, or that was drawing too much power and such, was not on the audit. All the other cargo was there, except the
Okay.
container that was drawing too much power. That was not on the salvage audit.
Shocked, I tell you.
And it would just so happen, it'll be confirmed by Sarana that that was the container that was delivered late at night off schedule.
It was a pirate in a box. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was something else.
The doctor will also have done the autopsy, and she will confirm that that corpse that you found was dead for a couple of weeks early, at least. The bullet wounds happened after the corpse was dead, so like no bleeding or anything like that. So someone shot a dead corpse and left it there.
It's going to be the captain. The captain's going to be the bad guy.
The face shifter. Well,
Indeed.
Dean doesn't have a whole lot of reason to hang out with Flynn, unfortunately. He is a senior officer, so he eats at a different mess. Although Dean,
there is only one mess here. There's only one galley in this ship.
Well, but
he might eat at different tables.
But
depends how yuppity you are.
Yeah, Flynn's fairly uppity.
He's just aloof.
Well, outside of that, Dean would have filled in Sully because he'd already dragged Sully into this. At least on the cargo part, that would be interesting to him. And something to watch out for, because since we're headed to Wilderman 2, we may end up picking up our own pirate in a box. So, at the very least, if Dean doesn't get to talk to Flynn, Sully probably will.
Give me a intelligence analysis roll, Flynn. I assume that you're going to fill in Flynn at some point.
He will get filled in.
Let's see if I can do better than I did last time.
Please do.
I did do better by 3. Success by 3, not better by 3.
I was going to say.
Right, so you do some theory crafting and find out try and work out motivations and use the data that's gathered and given the corpse and stuff like that. The ship the Starlight Dawn was left in a decaying orbit, so it would have eventually crashed. The corpse, the container that had the weirdness, was evacuated from the ship, or the Starlight Dawn. The pirate attack seemed to happen after the crew had started investigating this weird anomaly with this particular bit of cargo.
Mm-hmm.
The ship was placed in a decaying orbit. There was a dead body that was shot in the engineering section. If you guys didn't intervene, the outcome would have been a ship would have burnt up, but it's only a thin atmosphere, so it wouldn't have evaporated, burnt up. But it would have burnt up and eventually crashed. It wouldn't have been completely destroyed because of the low gravity and such, but it would have taken significant damage. The body on board would be burnt and perhaps dismembered and such. And if people came along to investigate this crash site, they would have found, in the case of Taran being there, they would have found his corpse. They would have found a corpse of a pirate, or someone that was meant to look like a pirate, shot up and found on board the crash site. And if you hadn't intervened, the pirates would have probably executed not only the guy they did execute, but the rest of the people. So
they're trying to fake someone's death.
You could surmise, you could surmise that someone tried to fake a pirate attack. Well, someone wanted to leave evidence such that this was a pirate attack.
Oh, I hope I just didn't, or we didn't just mess up my real boss's current
Mhm.
plans.
So
We get
that's
recruited.
what it's made to look like.
We get recruited because we take out the guys that she recruited already.
Whether this crew are somehow involved or not, you're not certain. But you find that a little bit odd, considering this crew had nothing to do with the fact that your ship was targeted for sabotage, was a victim of sabotage. So there's somehow you're involved.
Well, we don't have any direct connection with our sabotage to this.
Right. So your sabotage and this are unrelated. So you were suspecting this crew as
Presumably.
you were suspecting this crew as being potentially involved in, or someone on this crew, but this crew could not have been involved in the sabotage.
Interesting. Now we have to figure out what the heck's really going on.
To throw another spanner in the works.
The ship explodes?
Nope. I want you to make... who's going to be on the bridge during your watch? Most likely Flynn?
Yep.
You are
the other two don't have any business up there.
You're on navigation, right? During your watch?
Well, during his watch, he's probably standing in as the captain. I don't know what the command deck of this particular boat is like.
I mean, he is in charge of navigation when we're doing navigation, but just stand and watch. He's stand and watch.
Right. So the officer, your comms operator, will say, "Sir, I've detected something strange. Come and take a look at this."
Well, let's see what they've detected that's strange.
The comms officer will say, "I just received the our route updates to Wilderman from Wilderman Highport. Just regular comms traffic, but I noticed this," and you see the comms officer will sort of click on or touch some holographic buttons and bring up the display, and it shows a signal, and it says, she'll go, "This here is our normal communication signal, but concealed within this is another encrypted signal."
Well, let's try to decrypt it.
And she'll go, "I went back through our comms log and I saw the same signal here." And she'll say, "So this signal was transmitted on our outbound traffic, concealed within our transmission, and this one here was on the inbound traffic, concealed within our communications." So he or she, whichever one it is, will turn to you, Flynn, and say, "There is a hidden signal within our communications, encrypted signal within our communications, to and from this ship, sir."
Dun, dun, dun. Right. Well, I want to isolate when it actually happened and see if we can't figure out who was the person responsible for it. I have no idea what kind of skill that is.
That's a good question. I think it would have to be electronic ops communications in some form or another. Small sidetrack on a related note. The person who we had listed as the comms officer is in fact the deck cadet, who is no longer the deck cadet, who is the acting third officer and is on a different watch. So in order for that to have just occurred, one of the deck crewmen, I suppose, may have had some radio experience, let's say, and enough that they could pick up on something like that.
Will you bring this to the XO or captain's attention?
Not until we have more information. I want to try to isolate it, basically figure out when this was transmitted, and if we can get that, we can see what shift it was, and who was on shift.
Okay, was that the role on intelligence analysis there, or is that an old new or old roll?
That's the second roll you told me to make.
Okay. You can give me another roll.
Drum roll. By 5.
All right. So now that you're aware of this hidden signal, you will go back through the communications logs, and you will note some interesting coincidences. There was a inbound transmission that was received by the ship not long after you guys left the moon. Going back further, you will see that this signal appears at random locations, inbound and outbound, for as long as you have stored logs. So however long that is, maybe you keep your signal logs for a month or whatever. For as long as you have that, you will see this signal embedded within your normal comms traffic.
That's kind of a weird situation in that this is the beginning of this voyage.
No, it's not. This ship has been doing its thing. You've been with the ship for how many years?
Well, we probably haven't been. We've been with the company.
Well, you've probably been with this ship. If you've been with the company, you've been with this ship. So you've done this run probably several times. Either or, it doesn't matter. Whenever you join this ship, it's not really relevant. But at least the ship has been operating for a long time doing this run. So this is not the first run of this ship.
Right.
And
well, the point being that you sign on for a contract and it's a limited amount of time. So there could be a lot of people that have changed hands every time we start a new run.
that's possible. But for as long as the ship keeps a communication logs history, you will see this signal spliced in with your communications.
Okay, so operating on the presumption that this is going to be I am operating on the presumption that the captain has like a daily sit down or meeting with the officers to review, what's going to happen the rest of the duty day. I am going to bring this up then to him, and I figure like the XO and probably whoever the acting third officer will be there. Maybe maybe the Chang, possibly Sully.
All right, so you'll bring this up. The captain is going to be surprised and kind of pissed.
I'm also going to be watching the senior officers when I do bring it up.
All right, give me a body language. All right, so you will see. Actually, detect lies, body language. Okay, you don't see any falsehoods. You don't suspect anyone is lying, and their body language, it sort of matches with someone that is learning something that they didn't know about, and this is obviously pissing off the captain. The XO is surprised and wants to know how something like this could happen.
Make sure to praise crewman what's his face for just accidentally stumbling on this.
So crewman what's his face will get some brownie points from the captain.
Yep.
And yeah, so this goes back a long time, and this communications has been happening regularly, different systems along the route and so forth. Long story short, the captain says, I want to know how this signal is being injected into our comms traffic. I want a full diagnosis of diagnostic of all our comms equipment.
And when he asked the inevitable question about it, it's like, okay, what, why were you even interested in this? I'm going to bring up the weird shit that's happened with the Starlight crew that we just discovered.
The captain will say, I don't know what to make of it. What are you suggesting?
Just laying out the information I have at the moment, sir. This is certainly a weird one.
Whatever it is, I don't like that our ship is somehow involved. Does Dean have any sort of electronics communications, electronics repair communications?
Does he have it? That was weird.
Yeah. Whoa. That was
It was
really
just
long
really
lag.
lagged.
That was super long lag. I was like, did something break?
All right, so before you actually arrive, you start tearing everything down, going through every single bit of communications equipment, and you will find a small device has been spliced into your communications network.
You're not supposed to be here.
And then it explodes in your face, or it grows legs and attacks.
Either way.
Little
then
black
explodes.
box. What do you do with this little black box?
I am not going to touch it.
Scan it for explosives.
I have this weird trust relationship with this Flynn guy.
With this who guy?
He's got that Flynn guy. He's got the feel about him of a public champion.
Are we talking about the same person?
Yeah.
The guy who has bad temper at 15 or less, and bloodlust at 15 or less.
He's got his
stubbornness.
quirks, but yeah. Because he's interacted with Flynn quite a bit there. So I think what he's going to do is sort of, Flynn just happens to be nearby, so he's going to say, I found it, and I'm not sure if we want to touch it or do we want to leave it there?
Well, first we need to scan it for make sure it doesn't have, explosives.
Yeah, there's
Well,
no explosives.
Hold on. I have to check.
Well, the clarification for Dean was he was going to, whoever put it there, we may not want them to know that we found it.
Damn, do I want to just fail impulsiveness?
Of course you do, because it's hilarious.
Yeah, and I just noticed the time. So I'm just going to fail the impulsiveness, and when Dean shows this to me and he's like explaining this thing, I'm going to go, and reach in, pull the thing out.
Well, that's certainly a thing you could do.
Well, you will pull it out.
And it explodes.
It doesn't explode, but Dean, you will know that pulling it out is kind of extreme. It'll take communications offline and you'll have to rewire everything, but it'll remove it.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll just put this back together then.
Yes, you do that. Let me go take this to the captain. Double check to make sure we don't have additional ones.
Yeah, I'll look.
You find nothing else.
And I'm going to take that directly to the captain and put it on his desk.
Fuck.
Found this.
Now you can roll body language.
His body says, "Oh shit!"
All right, you failed by 1, but I'm going
appropriately.
I'm going to give you a bonus of 1. I'm going to give you a bonus of this because the captain's body language is telegraphed. He looks at it. You can see that there is.
He goes pale.
Some recognition happening. He does, in fact, the colour seems to go from his face. He picks it up and says, "Where did you find this?"
Communication system wired in. Mr. Alani located it. I have him double checking while reinstalling or repairing the existing comms. Do you recognize it, sir?
He says, "I do." And you can see that. Let me bring up his image.
And now I have to kill you.
The captain will sort of look at it and sort of, "I do recognize it." And he turns, walks to the back of his office, unlocks the office safe, puts it in the safe, closes it, locks it again, and he says, "For now, Mr. Flynn, who have you told about this? Or who knows about this?
Myself, Mr. Alani.
Make sure it doesn't go past yourself, Mr. Alani, and me. No one else is to know about it. Is that understood?
The executive officer is going to want to know what happened.
I'll brief him in time.
What's going on, sir?
He sort of shakes his head and he says, "This situation has become unexpectedly dangerous." He just sort of, you see, he looks through you, and he's obviously remembering something, and then he sort of snaps back and he says, "Dismissed."
Hmm.
Bum, bum, bum.
And that's a good place to end it, unless we want to do Sully's stuff, finding buyers, so we can have that done prior to next session.
I mean, if we could do it quickly, I suppose. I gotta get going soon.
Well, then we can do it next session if you want. We'll do that first up next session.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so we shall leave it there. Everyone gets 2 points.
Right. Points.
Do we have any particular questions? I hope I dropped the clues and have given you enough to go on. There's no confusion.
I don't think so. That is, I don't think I have any questions.
Not yet.
No gaping holes.
All right. So 2 points. Unless there's any character business that you want to take care of, we shall wrap it up here.
Just a question. We had talked about doing like milestones. Is that for the campaign and not for this part of the game? Or like goals,
That's right, we did
goals,
talk about
objectives.
that, didn't we?
I don't think we've fleshed out any of that stuff yet, but we can certainly inject goals and stuff.
All right. Yeah, just bringing it up. Something to think about. We can
Cool.
do it on Discord.
All right, so next session we'll be starting, or you'll be arriving at Wildman. We'll take care of Sully's trade
Yeah.
deals, and then you guys can do what you're going to do. All right, if you are watching this and you have any questions, corrections, suggestions, or general hecklings, feel free to leave a comment here or find us on Discord. Please consider liking and subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Thank you for watching. Olympus out.
Go away now.
Bye-bye.